Over the past few days since Cold War's release, I've been playing a lot of multiplayer, putting in around 15 hours of gameplay, and I have been enjoying myself grinding camos and prestiging. However, there are definitely things that need to be changed about this game to make it better in terms of both bugs and core features. Now in this video we'll be talking about everything that I feel that needs to be fixed or changed as soon as possible to make this period in the game's life cycle a little more bearable. I would also like to mention that I'm going to be cutting some slack for Treyarch in this video since they did the best of what they were given. If you didn't know, this game was supposed to be developed by Sledgehammer and Raven, but they did such a poor job, Treyarch had to take over about 7 months into development. This would obviously cause a lot of issues, and I'm sure they had to cut corners in places. The best thing that could have happened is if this game was delayed so we could have more time to be developed properly, but obviously Activision wouldn't do that. Alongside this, we also had the pandemic this year, which would cause some issues as well. I know a lot of people will say that this hasn't been an issue for other game developers, but for actually creating a new game, I imagine that would be a lot harder during the pandemic as opposed to just making DLC for a game. And also, before we do get into the video, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Now that Cold War has been released, I'm going to be uploading videos daily, mainly covering the multiplayer, but I am planning on making some zombies content as well. As soon as I start getting more gold guns in the multiplayer, I will be making camo guides for them, so if that interests you, then make sure you do subscribe. But without wasting any more time, let's hop into everything that needs to be changed about Black Ops Cold War. And I would definitely start with the weapon balancing. The MP5 and the M16 are both too strong, and snipers and launchers are both too weak, so let's get into what I mean by this. The MP5, everybody knows who's played Cold War, and even people that haven't played Cold War, everyone knows that this is broken. It's way too good. It has virtually no recoil, it has way too much range, the fire rate, the damage, everything about it, it's just the perfect gun. It outguns literally everything at any range. It can outgun shotguns and snipers. And I don't really know the best way to go about nerfing this. I'd say, add more recoil to it. Maybe tone down the rate of fire or the damage. It just needs to be nerfed. It can still be one of the stronger SMGs, but the problem is with it at the moment, it's so broken that it's literally all you see. I mean, just look at these clips that I'm going to start playing on screen of people just bumming off the MP5. It's all you see in the feed. It's literally all you see in games. So they definitely need to nerf the MP5. It is a real issue, and it literally outguns everything. You can't really compete properly unless you're using it. Now, let's move on to the M16. Now, this is another thing that people have been complaining about, not as much as the MP5. And I think this one is more of an issue of it being too strong as opposed to overpowered / broken. And I think the best way to go about nerfing the M16 is keep it so it can one burst people, because being able to one burst somebody actually takes skill, because you need to literally have 100% accuracy. However, the problem with this gun is that the bursts, like the period in between the bursts, is way too short. So even if you don't one burst someone, it doesn't matter, because you can get so many bullets down range, it does not matter at all. So I think what they need to do is make more of a brief period in between the burst, and maybe reduce the rate of fire for the bullets in the burst as well. So it's more of a slower weapon, because these marksman like tactical rifles, they're not really a run and gun playstyle. They're more of they're like the period in between assault rifles and LMGs in terms of like sitting back, if you know what I mean, and having the slower playstyle. So I think making this gun a little bit slower in terms of the rate of fire and that would definitely make it a lot better. And when I say better, I mean more balanced. I don't obviously mean stronger. I just mean it would be more balanced. Now, let's move on to the snipers. Now, snipers in this game are just way too weak. I'm sorry. You just can't, you can't compete when you use them. And I know there's people out there that think they're fine, or that they even need to be nerfed even more. That is just total bullshit. You are lying to yourself. So let's go through and talk about them. Now, the Pellington needs to be able to hit consistently. It needs to be able to one-shot a lot more consistently, because this is supposed to be the gun where it does a lot more damage, but it's a lot slower, and it just doesn't fill that role because it doesn't hit hard enough. It's not consistent enough to fill that role, so they need to look into that. The LW3 Tundra, I believe it's called, the other one, that's supposed to be the less consistent one-shot, but it's a lot quicker. And it doesn't fit the role either. It's too slow, once again. The general thing is with these snipers that they're way too slow. And Treyarch just absolutely annihilated the snipers in this game. And in the past, they have a record of not even caring about the sniping community at all. Especially with Black Ops 4. They ruined sniping in that game. And I'm worried they're going to do it again. Now, I think they need to just look at them and maybe revert them back to the beta, because I don't think they were broken then. I think that was a good period. The alpha, yeah, they might have been a bit too strong, fair enough, but I feel like the only people that are complaining about the snipers are either the people who think they're too weak or the people that just get one shot by somebody who's actually good at sniping and then they think they're broken, which is just deluded. They're way too weak and they need to be looked at. So let's move on finally to the launchers. Now, I only have experience with the lock-on one. I can't remember exactly what it's called. I haven't used the RPG yet, but this one in particular, does not one-shot people. It just does not one-shot people. The only way you can level it up is either going into hardcore and getting kills, or by shooting streaks down. And we're going to be talking about leveling up guns a little bit later. But the problem is that this one is just way too weak. It does not one-shot people, even if you direct him. Well, the only way you can one-shot them is if you direct impact them. But it's just so inconsistent to do that because it's not a straight firing rocket. It flails all over the place. So it makes it ridiculously hard to actually kill people in core. And running around in hardcore with a really slow-ass launcher is not fun at all. So they need to buff the launcher a little bit. And yeah, I think it's just too weak. It doesn't one-shot people properly. The reason this is an issue is because there is a challenge where you need to get kills. There's even one where you need to get double kills, which is just fucking retarded. Like, double kills with this weak-ass launcher. There's not hardcore hardpoint, so it makes it even worse. But yeah, double kills and launchers, no thank you. Kills on its own is fucking AIDS, yeah, no double kills. But anyway, let's move on now to leveling up guns and general camo tuning. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this section because I have a separate dedicated video to talk about this. I'll leave it in the link. I'll leave a link down in the description below, but I basically just talk about all the issues I currently have with the dark matter grind in multiplayer. Now, everything that I say in that video, I'm just going to kind of sum up here. Leveling up guns takes way too long. It needs to be looked at. General camo tuning, things like point blank kills and taking cover kills, bloodthirsties, they all need to be tweaked to make it easier and more accessible. Just because the main obstacle with this game is to do with the leveling up, which is, you know, how it's designed. It's like back in the day, the main obstacle was headshots. You couldn't progress any further unless you got your headshots done, and that's similar in this game. You can't progress unless you've got your gun to level 50. You can't get it gold. So obviously it's going to take quite a while to level it up, but I think it takes too long. But the problem is as well, the challenges after you've spent so much time leveling it up are actually quite difficult as well. So once again, I'll leave that video down in the description below. Go check it out if you want more in depth. But now we're going to talk about prestiging inconsistencies. It just doesn't work. It just does not work. So when you prestige in this game, you actually have two separate levels. I'm not sure which one is accurate. We're going to talk about them now. So the first level is the one which everyone will see. It's the one you'll see in the top right. It's the one you'll see in lobbies. And I believe this is the actual level. Now, there is also a second level. If you look in the after action reports, there is another level which is quite a lot higher than the other one. And I don't know where this one came from. To be honest, I don't know where they got this second level from. I don't know if it's... I genuinely don't know. I don't know where it's come from. I don't know why it's there. I'm not sure, once again, which one is the correct one, but I believe it's the lower one. Because, obviously, this is the pre-season, so leveling up's going to take quite a long time, because there's only 100 levels, plus the 55 military ranks. So, I feel like it's the lower one, but the second one just popped out of nowhere. It really does depend on how Treyarch have designed the prestiging system. It might be the higher one, but I ultimately don't know. I'm genuinely confused. I just hope they fix this. I'm pretty sure they are looking into this. I remember seeing like a tweet or something of someone saying they're fixing it, but I don't get it. So let's move on now to my other point, which is to do with the servers. There are so many issues with the servers where it just, connection interrupted halfway through, you'll have lag spikes in the game, or, just generally disconnecting, or I suppose I'm gonna put crashing in here as well, because it's not really a server issue, but it is a sort of similar thing. There are a lot of crashing things as well. It's just general stability with the game is a bit off at the moment, and I feel like this is more of a launch issue. This is just always an issue you get at the start of the game. Loads of people hopping on and the servers can't handle it, and the game crashing. So I'm gonna cut Treyarch a bit of slack here, because this is something that will probably be fixed very soon. But it's just something that if your game crashes time and time again, and you keep getting connection interrupted, it can really piss you off, and it does get really annoying. So this is something that definitely needs to be fixed. And finally here, we're going to talk about aim assist in this game. Now, I'm not going to talk too much in depth about this because, there's a whole video that Exclusive Ace made on his channel. So I'm going to leave that in the description down below as well, if I remember, hopefully. But aim assist in this game is just fucking broken. It's so broken. Like, you have your normal, like, aiming, like, slow down aim assist, which slows your aim down. There's another one called Rotational Aim Assist as well, where if you're aiming, like, your aim is not moving, but you're moving, like, past someone, then your aim will kind of rotate around them to kind of stay on target. But the problem is as well, if you're moving your aim side to side, like, if you move yours right to left, and there's an aim going left to right, your aim will be stopped and dragged the opposite direction to where you're aiming. I don't know why. I really don't know why. I'm going to leave a link to Exclusive Ace's video down in the description below as well. He talks in depth about it, but it's just ridiculous how something like this has happened, because this game has been developed, like, COD has been a thing for almost 20 years, and they're fucking up aim assist. I don't get it. So, that's everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. There's not a lot that I talked about here. We just kind of talked in depth about it, and there are definitely a lot more bugs and issues and small balancing changes I could talk about here, but these are all the big ones. These are all the major ones that kind of get in the way of you enjoying the game, and these are the big ones that need to be changed as soon as possible. I could sit here and talk about all the little bugs where if you go into a certain menu in zombies, your game will crash, or, this is a little bit too powerful, but I just wanted to talk about the main ones today. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Cold War content coming very soon. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.